Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to show you how to use Web of Science to find a peer-reviewed scientific article in your L2. And so what I want you to do is to start at the University of Illinois website at illinois.edu, and over here on the right click on the library link to take us to the library. Once you're at the library homepage, go to Article Resources in the center of the page, and the third link down is Online Journals and Databases. When the search field comes up, we're going to search for Web of Science. And as you can see, the second link that comes up is the Web of Science link, and we're going to click on that. And now we'll just click on Thomson Reuters databases. Here we are at the Web of Science homepage. One thing I want to point out is that as I'm making this video demo, I am actually working on the university network. Therefore, the university is not asking me to authenticate. In other words, not asking me to put in my NetID or password. If you are working off campus or even in another country, you may get asked to authenticate using NetID and AD password. If for some reason you have any issues using the Web of Science because of some kind of firewall or anything that's blocking the authentication process, please let me know and we will work out doing your search another way. But here we are at the Web of Science database, and this is a database that indexes a large number of research articles from around the world in many languages. In order to search for articles in other languages, we need to go beyond the basic search. We need to go to the advanced search. And so when you click on this arrow next to basic search, it allows you to select advanced search, which is what we need to do. Okay, so there are a number of areas that we have to work on here in order to do an article search in another language. In this first field, we will be putting in our subject, and we will be doing a Boolean search using these field tags over here, and we'll get to that in a minute. The second part is to restrict results by languages and documents types. For this search today, I'm going to look for an article in French. You can choose your L2, and I'm also going to restrict the document type to article. The third issue that I want to talk to you about is the time span. I want you to get an article that is not too old, so we're going to set our time span to a 10-year time span so that we don't get an article that is older than 10 years. And so you click in this radio button here and you select. (2004). So articles that were published between 2004 and 2014, that will give us a fairly recent article. Okay, so let's go back to our field here, our search field. And as I suggested in the assignment prompt, I suggested that you choose an area of research that reflects perhaps the industries that are dominant in the country where your L2 is spoken. So when I look at the French industries, there are many industries and there are many research topics that are worked on in France, but the one that many people know is the wine industry. So I'm just going to type in my field tag TS, that means topic, no space, I put an equal sign, open a parentheses, I'm just going to type wine and I'll close parentheses. All of the other parameters have been set up. I've chosen French as my language, and I've chosen article as my document type, and I have set the time span. So let's just see what happens when I click search. The search results are shown at the bottom of the page, and you can see that we have 113 results. and we just click here to view all of these results. Now, by just selecting the word wine as my search topic or my topic, I have gotten articles on wine in many different disciplines. You can see by this first title, The Specialized Wine Language Comparative Study of Tasting Reviews. This is a linguistics article. And so I've come up with a lot of articles, but many of the articles are not articles that were produced within the domain of the hard sciences. So what I want to do now is go down here and refine my search. I want to select some Web of Science categories, and the ones that come up immediately are food science. I'm going to select that, horticulture, and I'm going to select biotechnology and applied microbiology, and then I click refine. Okay, so now I have a refined list, and most of these are articles that are considered to be articles produced in the hard sciences. Now, what I want you to notice as I'm going to scroll a little bit through the titles, and you'll see each time that the database provides this link here, Discover Full Text. If there is an online version of this journal, and if the University of Illinois has a subscription to it, clicking on Discover Full Text will take you to that link that will get you to the full text. The library may very well have a subscription to the journal, but not necessarily to the online version of the journal, or the online version of the journal may not exist. So what the Web of Science is doing is it's giving you a list, and it's giving you information about all of these different articles, but it's not providing necessarily articles that are freely available or even readily available. So this is the part of the task that requires you to go through and do a little bit of searching and perhaps figuring out whether an article that interests you is available online. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go down to item 7, and I'm going to look at this title. It says Premature Aromatic Aging in White Wines, Contribution of Sauterlon. And I can see that it is from a journal called Biofutur. Okay, I'm going to say, well, this article is of interest to me. I'm going to see if it's available online, and so I'll just click on the link. Okay, so this page gives me a lot of information about the article, and one piece of information that I would like you to be able to find when you look up the article or when you've chosen your article is the impact factor. And the impact factor will be found under journal information and usually linking you to journal citation reports. So we click there and we look at the impact factor of the journal Biofutur. So just to make sure that you know, impact factor is associated with a journal. It is not associated with a specific article. You can see here that from 2008 to 2012, the impact factor of this journal has fluctuated, and in 2012 the impact factor is 0.051. So if you were able to find this article online, and this is the article that you selected for this assignment, you would upload that article as a PDF, and you would also provide me with the impact factor, which in this case is 0.051. But let's go back to the article information and see if there is a way for us to get this article online. To find out, you go to full text options, and let's go see if there is a full text version through the U of I library. It says no online full text available for this item. It might be a print journal that the library also gets, but we're looking for a PDF file. We want it to be online. So this article is not going to work. So what I do when I want to go back to my list is I go back up here and I just click back to list. Now, if you have a little time, you can click around and see which articles are online or which ones are available. But another thing you can do is to go down here to open access and get information about how many of these articles are open access, which means they're available to everybody, and which ones are not. And it's good information to have. It looks like only one of the articles that is in our list presently is open access and 38 are not. So in order to speed things up a little bit, I'm going to refine it based on open access, and I'm asking the database to show me the one article that is open access. Okay, so this is the article that is open access. It's called Effect of the Number of Recycled Biomass of the Yeast Saccharomyces uvarum on Some Parameters of Primary Fermentation During Beer Production in Côte d'Ivoire. The journal is Biotechnologie, Agronomie, Société et Environnement. I want to take a look at that and see what the information is for that journal. Okay, so they've given the title in English and they've given the abstract in English. Down here we have the document information and the journal information. So we want to look at the impact factor. It doesn't matter what the impact factor is, I just want you to observe it. Even if it's low or if it's high, it doesn't matter. It's just a number I want you to observe. In this case it's 0.379. If you were to select this article, then you would put in the notes field when you upload your PDF, 0.379 is the impact factor of the journal. Let's look at the full text options now. We're going to click on Discover Full Text. And the University Library tells us it is available in DOAJ, which is the Directory of Open Access Journals. Okay, here it is. Now what they've done is they've listed all of the journals, the journal editions by year, by volume, and number. So it's not taking us directly there, so we can go back and take note that it's volume 15, issue 4. Here we are, volume 15, issue 4, or number 4. And as you can see, the article that we are searching for has come up as one of the first links. Now, we have been able to access, or we will be able to access this article through the Open Access Journal database, but I want to make one point here. If an article is indexed in the Web of Science, then you can be certain that it is a peer-reviewed article. You don't have to look for that information. It would not be in the Web of Science if it were not peer-reviewed. So that is already taken care of. If you look in the Open Access Journal database, it's not certain that the article is peer-reviewed. So it's always better to go through the Web of Science first. What I want you to do as part of your assignment then is to just open the PDF file, and you can see that the article is in French. It has an English language abstract, and the title also has been translated for the English language abstract. Note that in order for a journal article to be indexed in the Web of Science database, it needs to have had some of its information translated into English. This is very important. So the title, of course, has to be translated, and in most cases the abstract. One thing I'd like to point out that I've already pointed out before is that sometimes the translation of the title and the translation of the abstract or the English language versions of those items are not necessarily correct or well done. So be careful when you are reading through an English language title and an English language abstract. Okay, for the purpose of this assignment then, you would simply take this article and you would note down the impact factor, which we just looked at, and you would put the impact factor into the notes area and you would upload this article as a PDF. And there's one more task that I want you to do as part of this assignment. We are going to go back to the search. I want you to do a comparison of what would happen if you did this same search, TS equals wine. We place the same limitations or restrictions on the article, but this time we ask, if we can, to see things in English, and that is not an option. So here it's the first option up here. Okay, so we have the option to search for articles that are only published in English, articles that are on the topic of wine, and published between 2004 and 2014, everything being the same except for the language. And now we'll do a search. Okay, note the difference here. When we initially did our search using French as our language, we got 113 hits. Then we narrowed it down by clicking categories that were associated with the hard sciences, and then we narrowed it down further by selecting journal articles that are open source. Now when you do the same search and you put in English as the language, you come up with 17,282 results, and that is a very, very different, much larger number than we had when we just did it with French. So what I want you to do is to go back and do the search again using English as your search language, and you don't have to refine anything, just give me the number that comes up in the results field for the English language search compared to the first number that comes up in the results field for your L2 search. So for this assignment then, there will be three things that I would like you to turn in. One is the PDF document, which is the scientific journal article in your L2. The second is the impact factor. It's just a number, usually less than 1.387, something along those lines. It does not matter how big or small it is. All you have to do is get that number and give that to me in the notes field as the impact factor. And then the next piece of information in the notes field is the number of hits that come up when you do the same search using English as the language. And that's it for this assignment. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to reading your scientific articles.